Hi, I'm Dr. Douglas Street. I'm a medical doctor, and in this video, I'm going to teach you about counting your calories. Now, this video will show you how to count the calories in your meals. It will also tell you how to calculate the daily calorie intake, how to institute calorie restriction, and also shall tell you how to distribute your calories throughout the day. I'll also point you towards other resources which you can get this information. Now, this video is a series of videos that I put together to help persons how to achieve diabetes remission. And one of the strategies for achieving remission is to cut your calories. Now, why is counting calories so important? When you can put in place calorie restrictions, it can help to improve your weight management. It can also reduce your blood sugar spikes. It can help you to achieve remission, as I mentioned before. And calorie restriction also helps you to reduce your inflammation level in your body. It also helps you to have a more balanced microbiome, which helps also in reducing the inflammation among many other benefits. The first thing we're going to be looking at is prepackaged food with a nutritional label. Now, when you look at the nutritional label, you're going to get a lot of information from it. You're going to see how many servings there are per package. You're going to see how many calories there are per serving, and you're going to see what the serving size. If you want to know how many calories you're going to be consuming, if you have the entire package, you're going to multiply the calories per serving by the number of servings in that package. So for example, if it says 100 calories per serving and there are 4 servings in the package, you're going to multiply 4 times 100 and you're going to get 400 calories. So that particular packaged food will contain 400 calories. The next one we're going to be looking at is food which don't come with any nutritional label. So these will include, things like, grown provisions, and things like banana, fruits. These don't come with any nutritional labels on them. So you're going to have to do a bit more calculation to get these. Now, you're going to need to get a food scale to check the weight of those solid items like the apple or so on. And also a measuring cup for liquid items. Then you're going to do some measurement. You're going to check the weight or the volume of that food item. Then you're going to go online and you're going to get the caloric density. And the caloric density is the number of calories that is in a particular weight or volume of that item. So for example, you may see 100 calories per 100 grams, all right, 100 calories per 100 mils. That is a caloric density, all right? Next thing you're going to do is you're going to multiply the weight or volume of that food item by the caloric density. So let us say you have 70 grams of sweet potato. And you check online and you see the caloric density is 80 calories per 100 grams. You're going to then multiply the 70 by the 80 and divide by the 100, right? And then you end up with 56 calories. So in other words, 70 grams of sweet potato will contain 56 calories. Now, there are a number of resources that you can use that can tell you about the calorie content of your meals. You can use the MyFitnessPal app, also the Chronometer app, and these will tell you how much calories is in a particular item of food based on its weight. You can also track the amount of calories that you're having in a particular day. There's also artificial intelligence like ChatGPT and Meta AI, and these can actually put together recipes for you with a certain number of calories. You may ask it, for example, to give me a shake which contain this number of calories, and it can actually tell you exactly how much of each to use so that the caloric content comes up to a certain amount. You can also contact a dietitian, especially those who have guidance with diabetes remission, and they can give you guidance in terms of how much of each food to eat so that you keep your calorie intake within a certain range. The next thing that we're going to be looking on is how to calculate your daily caloric requirements. Now, there are two things I must tell you before we start though. Number one is that this is a bit technical. Yes, it's that technical video, and this part is also technical. So, but there are simple ways of getting around that, right? The next thing is that the caloric requirements will vary from person to person depending on the level of activity, level of health. There are many things that will affect your caloric intake, your calorie requirement. So a person who is very active is going to require more calories than a person who has a sedentary job. A person who is pregnant will require more calories than a person who is not. So there are a number of things that are going to impact on your caloric requirements. So this is just a guide to show you how you can calculate it. It doesn't fit with everybody. Next thing I want to tell you is that to avoid all the calculation that you have to do, one thing that you can do is to just choose a certain number of calories that you're going to be targeting. So if you want to achieve diabetes remission or you want to achieve weight loss, then you could use a caloric intake of about between 800 to 1500 depending on how aggressive you want to be. Right? Now, when you restrict your calories, it actually works out to being a type of fasting, right? Because you're not going to be having the amount of calories that your body needs for a particular day, so there's going to be a deficit there, and it actually can bring about some of the benefits of fasting. And now you may choose a particular target that you're going to be working with, but you may notice that that target may not work for you. You may require a greater amount of restriction or less restriction. You have to make adjustments based on the results that you are getting. Now, the first thing that you need to do in calculating your daily calorie requirement is to calculate your ideal body weight. Now, in order to do this, you have to get a BMI chart, such as the one that you see here, and you have to then measure your height. Now, your height can be measured in meters or in inches, and this particular chart here is a metric chart, so it uses kilograms and meters to calculate your BMI. Now, the next thing that you need to do is to select your BMI goal, and this will vary from person to person, especially between the races. We find that Asians who are working towards remission, they usually have to go for a lower BMI than most other groups. So they usually have to go for a BMI of 22 usually in order to achieve remission. But other groups, Caucasians and blacks may work towards a higher BMI, like for example 24. So, but we're going to work with 22 for the sake of argument, right? So after you've measured your height, then you're going to look to see what your ideal body weight is. So let us say that you are 1.8 meters and you're working towards a target of 22 BMI. So what you do is you see where the height line crosses the 22 line, and then you go across to the weight, and you see a weight of 70 kilograms. So basically what this chart is saying is that if your height is 1.8 meters, then your ideal body weight or the weight that matches a BMI of 22 would be 70 kilograms. Next thing you're going to be doing is to calculate your usual calorie requirement. And so you're going to be working that out based on your ideal body weight. What you're going to be doing is you're going to be multiplying your ideal body weight by 35. So for example, if your ideal body weight is 70 kilograms, then you're going to multiply that 70 by 35 and you're going to end up with 2,450 calories. So the usual amount of calories required for a person with 70 kilograms is roughly 2,500. Now it's important not to use your actual body weight, because if you're overweight, especially very overweight, then this requirement is going to be higher than what it really should be. So don't use your actual body weight, use your ideal body weight to do this calculation. After you work out the usual caloric requirement, the next thing you need to work out is the restricted caloric requirement. All right? Now remember that we are working towards weight loss or diabetes remission. So a person who's working towards those goals, you have to do some restriction of your calories in order to achieve them. Right? So for argument's sake, we're going to be using 70% as the restriction standard. So we have already calculated that a 70 kilogram person, a person with an ideal body weight of 70 kilograms, would be using roughly 2,500 calories. Now, if you're going to be working with a 70% restriction, then it means that you're going to be cutting those calories down to about 1,700 calories, right? And the next thing is to decide on how you're going to distribute the calories during the day. And I'd recommend you do about 6% at breakfast time and 40% at supper time. Now this is because studies have shown that it's better to put your most of your calories towards your morning meal rather than your afternoon meal. Right? Now remember that these are approximate figures and you don't have to be strict and hard and fast about it. These are just guidelines to guide you towards the goal of diabetes remission. You may need to adjust them based on the results. Some persons' metabolic rate is high and some are low. So you'd have to make adjustments accordingly. So you may find a person may be doing 70% restriction, but they're not seeing the results that they want. They may need to go down to 60% or even 50%, and that may bring about the results that they're looking for. Now, another thing that I just want to remind you is that yes, these calculations are a bit complicated. Yes, I do understand, but you don't have to go through all these calculations that we just went through. You can just choose the caloric restriction that you want. As I said earlier, you can use between 800 to 1500 calories, and those figures have been studied scientifically and they've been shown to achieve remission. So you can actually choose those anywhere in that range, and that can help you towards your goal without having to go through all of these calculations. As we come to the end of our video, I just want us to take a look at Psalms 37 verse 5, which says, "Commit your way to the Lord, trust also in him, and he will bring it to pass." Now, you may want to achieve something important in life. For example, you may want to achieve diabetes remission, or maybe some other important goal. Now, the important thing that you need to do is to commit what you want to the Lord. Trust in him and he'll bring it about. Now, it's important for us to understand though that it's not everything that you want is God's will for you. So it has to be something that is in line with his will. So if you want to achieve a goal and it is in his will, he will ensure that it will be brought about. It may take some time, which is why you have to commit yourself to him, and he will in his time bring it to pass. Thank you very much. Until the next video.